Hey, man, what's up? It's your boy Willie Lynch Jr, the traveling black vegan on the Ye Day. We back for another episode of the dopest, newest podcast on the internet, man. Live with Willie Lynch Jr. All the way live, man. But yeah, we here, and it's me. And I'm looking amazing. Got my shea butter on. Whoo! About to slide out this shirt. That's how buttered up I am in here today. But today, bro, we got a special guest. This is one of my big homies. This is the OG. I've known him for about, I want to say I met him. I'm acting like my daddy and my son. I'm very detailed. I've known him since 2012 when we taped the show in Atlanta called Bounce TV's Off the Chain. But this is a master comedian. He's been on HBO's Def Comedy Jam, P. Diddy's Bad Boys of Comedy, Comedy Central. He toured with the Universoul Circus. This is one of the cats that a lot of us look up to. Like, he does impressions, but he's not an impressionist. He's a comedian who can do impersonations. Because you got people who do impersonations and they kind of masquerade as comedians. This is a pure stand-up comedian who also is a master impressionist. This the OG, straight out of the M-Town. Y'all show some love, start clapping, but tone it.
Man, thank you, man. That was an awesome introduction. Willie Lynch Jr.
Yeah, man.
Bounce with the Junior. Yeah, what's up, man?
Chillin', man. I don't do that no more, right?
Oh, you don't? Hey, man, I never forgot that, man.
That was my thing at first, because when I first started doing it, it was like, when I had got back rolling in comedy in St. Louis, I was just trying to be different.
Right.
And I did this bit where I was acting like a bill collector.
Right.
And how they would call, my mama's house, and they would talk to me like they knew me. And so they'd be like, "Is this Willie Lynch Jr.?" And every time I said Junior, I kind of would bounce.
Right.
And then I was like, "Yeah, this is Willie Lynch Jr." And this was like my coming out party as a comedian for me.
Right.
So I did so well that night, and I'm watching this video, and I just watched it over and over and over. And I noticed every time I said my name, every time I said Junior, I would bounce. So I started saying bounce when you say the Junior. So
nice. And it's fitting that you did it on Bounce TV.
Yeah. Even though my set was all right.
Oh, it was good, man.
But anyway, man, first of all, thanks for coming through and sitting down with me, G.
Hey, man, no problem, man. I'm glad I was available to do it, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Happy to be here.
So, Tony, just tell us something about you. Like, first of all, like I said, you from Memphis. Like, tell me something about Memphis, how you grew up, mom, dad, and then, just start there. Because I got a bunch of stuff I want to know about you.
Well, my life started, my conception and my arrival into this world started in Cleveland, Ohio, actually. Okay. But I moved to Memphis at a very early age, so that's why I claim Memphis mostly, man. I moved there when I was like 2 years old, back in '73. Came up, man, I came up at a great time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about, it was a great time where it was just like not much technology, no internet, you know what I'm saying? And came up, I was down there with my grandparents first. I had a lot of upbringing with my grandparents, man, and in the South, and had some rural upbringing, you know what I'm saying? Like in Moscow, Tennessee, between Memphis and Moscow, Tennessee, in Fayette County. And man, I was just had a fun little life, man, as a childhood, had my little friends running around the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying, playing hide and go seek, doing what kids did back in the day, outside. We played outside, and just came up through like elementary school, all my grade school years, except for a couple of them spent in Northern California too. So I moved around a lot too. So I was in Northern California for a spell, like my third grade year, but I spent 4 through 12 in Memphis, man. I went to all my elementary schools, like Magnolia Elementary and Cromwell. People in Memphis that see this, they'll know what I'm talking about. Magnolia, Cromwell Elementary, Colonial Junior High, Overton High School. And I was class of '89, man. I'm old.
So what you go to Northern Cali, and what part of Cali were you in?
I was in Sunnyvale, California, man.
Okay.
Yeah, just one of those life things, man. It was no military involvement, just the course of life.
Getting evicted, y'all had your mom and dad was on the run.
Yeah, we was on the run. Nah, man. Actually, man, we just a move for something different, and moved up there with a family. I got family up there in Northern California, man, and that was incredible. That was a good good thing to happen for me culturally because I learned about different culture. You know, in Memphis or Tennessee, especially at that time, it was either black or white.
Yeah.
I moved up to California. I got exposed to a lot of different nationalities, man. I'm talking about everybody. I had a rainbow coalition of friends out there. I had a white friend, black friends, Mexican friends, even Iranian. You know what I'm saying? Which is a triggering word right now. Iranian.
Bombs over Baghdad.
Bombs over Baghdad. So, yeah, man. And I had Jewish friends. Korean, man. It was funny, man. Korean homeboy, his name was Derek from Korea. His name was Derek.
A Korean
no
nigga
lie.
named Derek.
Huh? Yeah, Korean dude
nigga.
named Derek, man. So, but yeah, man, I had friends all over, man, and of every ethnicity, and that opened me up to a lot of stuff. So, to the world, and then came back home, man, to Memphis, man, and finished growing up. Soon as I graduated high school, I moved down to West Palm Beach, Florida. That's where my father was. You know what I'm saying? He was down there, my biological father, and I got to know I got four brothers and a sister, so I got hang out and live with my other siblings down there, and you know what I'm saying. And I got a lot of exposure of living all over the country. So like I said, I was born in Cleveland, raised in Memphis, but I lived Northern California, South Florida, Southern California, Nebraska. That's where my daughter was born. I met my first ex-wife in Nebraska, Omaha. Yeah.
So how many ex-wives you had?
Two, man, two.
Okay.
No, not that many.
How many kids?
I got one daughter, man.
Okay.
22-year-old daughter, Kennedy.
So in Florida, so that's where your dad's from, in West Palm Beach?
My father was he was born in Cincinnati, raised in Cleveland, and a little bit of New York as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but primarily Cleveland, Cincinnati, Ohio boy, yeah.
You the oldest?
No, I'm his second oldest. I got an older brother named Eric Davis, man. Eric T. Davis. He's
Play
a pastor.
baseball?
Huh?
Did he play baseball for the Reds?
No.
okay.
No, he didn't play any sports, man. But yeah, I got an older brother, Eric Davis, and then me, and then I got another brother. He's 2 years younger than me, Adrian, and then I got another twin. I got twin brothers and sister, Kathy and Kevin. Then I got a brother in Memphis. Him and I, we share the same mother, different fathers.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one I grew up with, Tari,
Okay.
and one in Memphis. Yeah.
And so is dad still with you? Dad still alive?
No, he passed away at the age of 45, man. He had to have a heart transplant. You know what I'm saying? He didn't know you at the time. You know what I'm saying? You probably could have saved him, the herbs. But no, he was 45. He didn't really have to pass away, though. He was a little non-compliant, though. You know what I'm saying? When you get a foreign organ in your body's trying to fight it off. You're supposed to take medications to fight the rejection.
Yeah.
He didn't take the medication like he should, so 45 was his exit, man.
So the crazy part is, I was talking about this the other day. Like, stuff like that is not even necessary, and it's unnatural. So, like, we've become accustomed to it because we've forgotten the old ways. Like, there's no reason why you take somebody's heart out their body and then put somebody else's heart in the body. Like you said, you got to take medication, which are drugs, to keep the body from fighting this thing off. Because the body knows what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
You got some foreign genetic material inside of you, and that's why the immune system kicks up and they say, oh, we got to get rid of this thing.
It's true.
So that's why you got to fast and use herbs, because the herbs, like one of my partners, she's a comedian out in L.A. When she had her daughter,
Right.
They told her she had I think cardiomyopathy or something like that, like her heart was enlarged.
I've heard of that, yeah.
And she started taking sea moss and started taking iron, from plants.
Mm-hmm.
And heart came back to regular size. But
it makes sense, man. I mean, it makes perfect sense with the herbs because, I don't think God definitely didn't put us down here defenseless health-wise. Our medication was growing around us.
yeah, it still is.
It still is, yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. I believe that too, man.
So, like you talk about growing up in rural Tennessee, you said Moscow?
Moscow, Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Still look the same.
How far is it from Memphis?
About 30 minutes, maybe. It felt like, as a kid, back in the day like it was a couple of hours, but it was, I think, really like 30, 35 minutes, really.
Which direction?
East.
Okay.
Yeah, east, southeast, maybe, something like that. But yeah.
You ever heard of Ripley, Tennessee?
Of course.
So
it's north of downtown Memphis, yeah.
My granddad's parents, before they had moved to Centralia, Illinois, Centralia is maybe east of East St. Louis, northeast, I think. But they were from like outside of Ripley. I don't know if it was Nutbush, Tennessee, or
Nutbush was up that way. Nutbush, Dyersburg, Union City, Ripley, all that. Yeah, and I know Ripley well. not to cut you off, because I played football in high school. We went up there and got ran off the field by Ripley. Ripley
Really?
ran us off the field. But yeah, I know.
So is those predominantly black areas, black towns?
You know, believe it or not, if it's not predominantly, it's at least half. You know what I'm saying? Some of those towns, you know, because I know it's a small town, but still there are a lot of small towns in the South that are predominantly or all black or half black. So they were definitely, I believe Ripley was mostly black, because that's where a lot of the members of Arrested Development are from.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're from Ripley. Yep. At least few of them. A few of them, you know. Yeah. I think, what's my man name? Speech. I think Speech was from there. Yep.
Wow. I don't know. I thought they was from like New York or something.
Nah, they were from Ripley, Tennessee, man.
So going back to that, because again, I am an herbalist, so a lot of stuff I'm gonna talk about is nutrition. So do you remember back in the day, like your grandparents or aunts or uncles, you know, them using or recommending like herbs or making tea from plants outside or any of those things?
Man, let me tell you something, man. It's funny you asking. I know she's off camera, but my mother's sitting off camera, y'all. She knows. Let me tell you, several instances, man, they use regular stuff like, okay, if something happened to you, whether you get injured, get stung by an insect, or you sick, they always ran to the refrigerator or the cabinet, because it was always something that, like, say for instance, my mother had a high fever one time, right? I think they put potato peels around her and it drew the fever out of her. Mm-hmm. You know, onions do the same thing too. I know you know that.
Yeah.
Onions do the same thing. They poured some beetle blood down her ear. This is beyond herbs right here. They using the environment for real. They poured some beetle blood down her ear. I don't know what happened. She had an ear infection. Cleared it up. They got a tea that's made out of cow manure. They call it.
Oh no, that's doo-doo. I don't.
Yeah.
That's a doo-doo smoothie.
What's the name of that tea? Catnip tea.
Catnip, but catnip is a herb. It ain't made out of no doo-doo.
I think that's what they called it. I think they made it from the manure of the.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I know, but different. Okay, say I got stung in the side of the head before by one of those yellow jackets, you know, big yellow and black bumblebees. My mother put a slice of onion on it, and the pain, everything, the swelling went away like 10 to 15 minutes.
So it's a plant, and if I showed you a picture, you would recognize it. 'Cause I know it's in Memphis, but it's a plant they call plantain, and not the one that look like a banana that the West Indians eat.
Right.
But it's called plantain. They also call it white man's foot. It's a plant that grows real close to the ground, and the leaves are kind of like they're whorled, right? So it's like leaves coming out like this, and then it has a tall stem like this.
Okay.
But it's low to the ground. But they chew the leaf. They chew the leaf, like I said, you got stung by like that bee.
Yeah.
They chew the leaves, and then they spit it out, and they'll put it on that stinger, and it'll come out.
Wow.
So I've heard tales of this. I've read about it. Then one of my partners, who's a herbalist, and he forages in South Carolina, he's Gullah Geechee.
Okay.
And he was in the forest, and he ran into like a beehive, and he took off running because they were chasing him, and he got stung. And while he was running, he ended up seeing the plantain. It's called Plantanago, something like that. I'm trying to think of the scientific name, but he grabbed the leaf, he chewed it up, and he put it on the sting, and it pulled it out.
Wow.
My partner's dad, my frat brother's dad, we was just on the phone the other day, told me the same thing happened with his mom. She got bit by something a couple weeks ago. Chewed up, and it grows all over East St. Louis.
Wow.
But so these are the things we used to do, and what I maintain is a lot of us, we've gotten away from nature. So now we're listening to these people who's saying, "Hey, we're scientists,"
right?
And they're getting us in trouble.
Yeah.
And we don't even want to admit it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because again, I talked about Ananda Lewis the other day. Like, we saw what happened with her.
Yeah, that was sad.
Yeah, but the thing that they're trying to push now is, okay, if Ananda had decided to get a mammogram, and had she decided to go and get a mastectomy and chemo, she would still be alive. Which to me, that was like one of the worst pieces of propaganda that's out, because it's a reason. She wasn't stupid.
Right.
She didn't do it because of a reason. It was because of what she saw happen to her own mother.
Oh, yeah. I kept hearing she didn't. Yeah, she refused treatment.
Yeah, not only treatment, like her mom ended up with breast cancer,
right?
And she believed, because she kept getting these getting mammograms.
Yeah.
And then once she got the cancer, the treatment is what took her out. Like Carlos, you know Carlos Miller.
Yeah.
Carlos sat right here on my show, and he talked about his mother telling him that when she was dying, she said, "It's the treatment that's killing me." But see, back in the day, these diseases weren't running rampant like that, number one. Number two, when we got sick, there was somebody, a local, like again, the elder I was just talking about when we was on the phone the other day, he said his mother or his grandmother, she was the medicine woman in the South of Mississippi, whether it be the white folks or black folks.
Right.
When they got sick, they would move her in the house and she would stay there with them people until they were better.
Yeah.
And she would just use herbs, you know, but we've gotten completely away from it.
Yeah, we have, man. We have. And I'm glad I don't rely on any of the man-made stuff, you know what I'm saying? Any medicines. You know what I'm saying? I take care of myself as well.
And you use steroids too, but go ahead.
No, I eat church's chicken. That's
oh yeah, they got steroids.
No, but no, I try to take care of myself too, man. I'm so glad I don't have to rely on anything that's out there from big pharma. You know what I'm saying? The illegal drug dealers out here killing people.
Leave that black seed oil alone, though, bro. That's my word.
Yeah,
don't, because your mama says you don't give it.
That's noted. That's noted.
But so let's get to comedy. So,
Yes, sir.
How did you get into comedy, bro?
Aside from being a class clown in school, most of my life, most of my grade school life, officially I started at Cumberland College in 1990-91. I was
Cumberland in Tennessee, ain't it?
Well, no, that's Cumberland University in Lebanon, Tennessee.
Okay.
You have back then it was Cumberland College in Williamsburg, Kentucky. All right, so a lot of people get those two confused.
Yeah, because Ronnie B went to Cumberland, and that's my Noop.
Who did?
Ronnie B.
Oh, really?
You don't know who Ronnie B. I know.
Cumberland
What up,
University?
Noop? Yeah, he played ball there.
In Lebanon. Okay, he played football?
No, basketball. Then he ended up transferring. I think, yeah, he played there, but he plays at Vanderbilt. But yeah.
Okay, all right. So mine was Cumberland College at the time. Since then, it's changed the names to the University of the Cumberlands. Now they're the Patriots, because when I was there, we were the Cumberland College Indians. Of course, with the whole mascot thing, they changed it. Anyway, that's where I started. All right, small private college in Williamsburg, Kentucky. We broke down into groups within the football team. I was on the football team.
What position?
And running back.
Okay.
Running back. So went from that. We broke down into groups to do skits in front of the student body, kind of a orientating kind of move. Everybody affiliated with or familiarized with the football team. So it was a fun event. And at that time, the Arsenio Hall show was popular, right? So I kind of redirected our idea, what we were going to do. I said, why don't we do a mock version of the Arsenio Hall show? So we had just enough people and the right people to do what we did. So I said, I remember my boy Mike, I said, you're going to be Arsenio. Then I said, one dude, we happen to have a white boy, tall white boy with kind of a box haircut. So you're going to be Vanilla Ice and blah, blah, blah. So I said, I'll make myself the guest comedian. Because what it was, Coach Mack, his name was Coach Mack. We call him Coach Mack for short, Coach McClanahan. He heard me do some impressions. And he said, Anthony, you got to do that. You got to do that in the skit. You got to do that. You got to put some of those impressions in the skit. I said, all right. So I'll just make myself the guest comedian in the mock version of the Arsenio Hall show. So, man, we did it, and it hit hard. And Ben, my portion, that's what gave birth to it. When I did those little, I was doing all impressions then, and the student body liked it so much that I was receiving slips up under my door. Hey, can you do a comedy bit for this event, for that event? So I became the campus comedian. So I did a comedy show, a comedy skit, or set rather, for an Earth Day event, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't do any impressions on that intentionally. I said, I'm gonna talk about my life, stuff like that. And that killed. And man, I just kept doing comedy sets around the campus until one of the coaches, the linebacker coach, Coach Palmazzano, said, Anthony, I used to manage a couple of comedy clubs, and from what I've seen, you actually have what it takes. If I can set you up with a couple of comedy clubs over the summer, would you do it? I said, yeah, I'll do it. So that never happened, but then I left, though, and went to Memphis, and the Comedy Zone opened up in Overton Square. Very nice room, man. That was one of the nicest comedy zones. So I was there every week. Open mic night, was out there in the lobby on a little small stage in the bar area. That's what we did, open mic. And we had to work our way into the main showroom, which is a great incentive to do well, right? So, yeah, man, that's why I cut my teeth in a comedy club as far as stand-up at Comedy Zone, and I started traveling, hitting the road, man. Not hitting the road, but I moved to South Florida. Mm-hmm. And I cut my teeth there, too. That was different environment too, man. It was, it was tough. It was tough because that was the Apollo era too. I mean, matter of fact, I started right before Def Jam started. So, but Showtime at the Apollo was already around. You know what I'm saying? So, and Comic View, to be honest, Comic View and the Apollo was around before Def Jam, and Def Jam just took urban comedy to a whole new level. You know what I'm saying? But the reason I say the Apollo era, a lot of Apollo nights, Apollo comedy nights. So people came in ready to boo. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that put more pressure on, especially you're a new comic. You had to be funny, or else. And every black night was Apollo night theme. Yeah. All right, y'all. You know, if they ain't funny, you know what y'all got to do. And man, to go up there with that extra fear, you know what I'm saying? Like I ain't trying to get booed. And then I got caught. It got me a couple of times, man. But I came back to the scene of my crimes, my comedy getting booed, to conquer those same rooms too, though. But that's when I started. I started 91, Cumberland College, and took my newfound gift, man, on the road. And here I am, 30-some years later, man. You know, still doing it, still going strong, still love it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of different. My growth came from nights of getting booed, or just not having a good set. That's when my growth really come, because it's like, okay, what can I do better? You know, it can make or break you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Some people get booed, man. You got to talk them off the tallest point in the city because they about to jump off the roof. You know what I'm saying? But me, I'm competitive, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? All right, my skin is thick enough. I can take it. You don't feel good getting booed. You know, that night you get booed, man, you don't even want to hang around. That's when I started driving to all my shows. I rode with the first time I got booed, I rode with the dude that didn't get booed. So he wanted to hang out and enjoy it. I'm sitting there like, golly, man, I felt like a leper, man. It was crazy, but it was funny that night. We was at Marvin Dixon's room, right? Studio 183. You ever heard people talk about Studio 183? No. Oh, it was a hood room. It was rough. It was a fun room, but it was rough. Man, I got booed that night. I rode. My homeboy wanted to hang out. I was like, all right, I have no choice. I got to hang out. That's my ride. So Zoo Man, a young Zoo Man and a young Doodoo Brown, they were the comedians that night. They would headline and feature. Man, when I tell you they tore that room up, and there's a reason why I wasn't able to leave. Of course, I would have left. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to stick around, but I stayed. I watched them tear that room up. I said, I could do that too. I said, I'm going to come back and get this darn room. And I did. I went back and I changed my look. My look, first of all, was a setup. I used to work at Merry-Go-Round, this little clothing store that was big back in the 80s, right? I had on my little Merry-Go-Round suit, my little glasses. You know what I'm saying? And they were like, I'm in the hood. When they called my name, I think they even used my real last name. I think that was before I started using Tony Tone. I used my actual last name, which was Llewellyn. Yeah. Oh, man, when they heard the name, they saw my look, they was rehearsing they boos.
We should get this.
Yeah. They were like, they were clearing their throat, make sure I get these boos out. And I got maybe like a minute and a half in. Boom! Oh, man. And then the DJ played It's So Hard to Say Goodbye by Boys and Men. Buddha. I remember Buddha, my boy, man. All of them became my crew, man. But at that time, he said, what happened? I think I was trying to go into another joke. All of a sudden, how do I? Cut me off. He played it loud. I was like, I just put the mic back up and walked back. It was crazy, man. It was, but I came back and conquered that room. And even the people that booed me that night, later on, they're like, hey, man, you a funny brother. I remember that night we booed you, man, but you funny, man. You know, it was funny, man. It was all love, you know what I'm saying? But, then I got booed again. This is all in South Florida. You know, Miami's a tough city.
Oh, yeah, I already know.
Yeah, so I got booed at the James L. Knight Center because I made it to the finals of the Slitchmalt Liquor Bull comedy competition. At that time, this is before the Kings of Comedy were assembled. Mm-hmm. So it was D.L. Hughley and Bernie Mac. They were on that particular tour. I think Cedric and Steve had their tours going. Anyway, James L. Knight Center, Miami, which was it's a weird setup too. It's not set up the best for comedy, from what I remember. And Nate Smith, who was over that tour, he's the one that put it together.
Is that the one that used to manage kids?
Used to be Kevin Hart's road manager. Nate used to be over. He used to work at Creative Entertainment, which was over the Comedy Zone. Oh, yeah. This is before Hef took over and made it Heffron Talent. So Nate put Marvin up first. That was Marvin City. This is back when Marvin was stripping. His last joke, he stripped. And that murdered every time. And that was his city. He put Marvin up first. The rest of us had to come up and follow that. Man, I came up there, man, and tried to do my best impression. You know, I tried to reshuffle my stuff. It was a wave of boos because James L. Knight Center got about at least 4,500 to 5,000 seats. Bruh, when I tell you, boy, they started booing, but I didn't leave. I said, all right, y'all don't want to hear that? I got something else for you. And I weathered the boos. The boo, they boo. All right, let this nigga finish. You know what I'm saying? It was like that, right? And I know DL was like, man, you stayed up there? I would have left. You know how DL is. And Bernie too. Bernie, goddamn, I would have left that motherfucker. You know what Bernie is, man. I would have left. I wonder why he stayed. You know what I'm saying? So I said, hey, I had to stay. I had to keep fighting, Bernie. Well, you a better motherfucker than me. You know, so it was like, you know, but that was the second night of adversity. I was like, okay, that was growth. It was growth. I said, all right, cool. So you can either learn from having a lackluster set or getting booed to fall into it. You know what I'm saying? So it strengthened me. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna come back though. I gotta come back and get you back. You know what I'm saying? Get my lick back. So in Atlanta at that time, they didn't necessarily boo you. They shook keys. And that was started. I heard that was started by fellow comedian. I don't know where he is now, Chris Charles. If you see this, shout out to Chris Charles, if you know him. Chris Charles started that. And I think he might have started at the Comedy Act Theater there. I never did make it to that Comedy Act. Mike Williams owned that one too, out in L.A. as well. So if they weren't funny, they shook keys. And I saw it happen too. I said, oh man, it ain't gonna happen to me. Right? I said, I'm not gonna get no keys shook on me. And I was doing Teddy's Live. That's when I first started going to Atlanta, performing in the city of Atlanta. I did Teddy's Live, which that's how I got onto Def Jam. But Bob Sumner saw me there at the Def Jam auditions, and that's what was his deciding factor. But the main route to Def Jam back in the day was the Peppermint Lounge.
Yeah, in Jersey.
Yeah, and I did that too. But in Atlanta, they shook keys. It was funny. That made it around the city. You be telling jokes, all of a sudden, everybody shaking the keys. But see, you can't do that no more. Everybody got key fobs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's different now. They make the alarm go off. You know, I don't know. But yeah, man, man, the times we came up in, man, it was good times though. But you know, it was just traditional comedy, man. You know what I'm saying? So
let's go back to Marvin Dixon. I don't know if you knew this, but you know where Marvin Dixon was born at?
No, I don't.
East St. Louis.
You know what? Hold up. Did I ever hear him say that? I think he might have said it a few times. It just didn't stick with me, but that's where he grew up at?
From East St. From where I'm from.
East St. Louis. Right. I remember you from there too.
Yeah, Marvin. So Marvin was a dog back then?
Oh, man. Marvin was the dude. I mean, he still owns Miami, to be honest, man. But, yeah, man. Yeah. It was, you come through Studio 1. Everybody came through Studio 183, man. That was his night.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Cedric, Guy Torrey, everybody came through Studio 183, man. This, you know, this is before the Improv, I think, was there. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, he was telling me some years ago. He was like, I think Tina Graham told him that he was the only comedian, one of the only comedians in the country that can make six figures and not have to leave home. Yeah,
because that's how much he and you know Marvin, you know, he's a good business dude too. Yeah. He puts shows together, he runs them right, pays you well. And he really could. He owned that city, man. He's on WEDR, the radio station.
Yeah, so he brought me down to the Fort Lauderdale Improv in 2014. I had just moved
to
New York.
Hard Rock?
Yeah. And I was happy, bro, because, you know, I was an animal.
Right.
So I'm going to go do my thing.
Yeah.
And I ended up kind of having an offset.
Oh, no,
and
really?
But it was because I think the show started late.
Oh, yeah.
And I was doing well, but then I said something wrong. Something didn't go, and I ain't bombed, but I didn't. And I felt so bad, bro, because like Marvin, I had been big, and I was trying to get Damon Williams to vouch for me because I used to live in Chicago. Like, hey man, tell Marvin Dixon, you know, I'm funny, so I can get down there. Because Marvin had seen me in East St. Louis, in Fairview Heights, because it was me, him, Guy Torrey, and and somebody else. But you remember Brian Cox used to play for the Dolphins?
Yeah, of course.
so he used to have an annual celebrity golf tournament.
Sure did.
And they had comedy show. So I was new. I was in the game about 3 years, but I was making waves. So they put me on the show. And I first met Marvin. And I used to look up to him because I've been watching comedy since I was a kid.
Right.
And so I was like, man, this dude from Def Jam. And I remember him doing the bit where he used to strip, and I just remember he was cold.
Yep.
And so I'm talking to him, and he was kind of a little, not arrogant, but he was kind of like, I said, man, make sure you watch my set. He said, man, to be honest with you, I don't really watch young comics.
Right.
And I was like, damn.
Yeah, that's Marvin.
So, and
Bruh.
he had mentioned that Guy Tori and them was like, hey, Willie on the show, Willie Lynch Jr., you don't mind following Willie? I said, man, I don't give a fuck about following no. So he had already heard I was funny. So I'm on stage, we're in the hotel ballroom, and I'm killing. And I see the door keep opening up. And then I saw them glasses.
Yeah.
And it was Marvin, and he was looking at me, so that's when he kind of started respecting me.
Yeah.
But I gotta bring him up here. I've been supposed to book them.
Right. But
I just want to sit down and talk to him because like he one of the dudes that I look up to not only just as a stand-up because he's phenomenal as an act, but as a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because Touré, which is him and Touré are similar. Like,
they
how
are.
he does what he does in Miami, Touré does it in Philly.
In Philly, he sure does. Yeah.
And like Two had mentioned a while ago, he's like, man, the majority of, the independent comedy producers are comedians.
Yeah.
So that's why we tell young comedians, like, watch what you're doing and saying.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the work you're going to get going to come from other comedians.
Other comedians, yeah.
And that's why I wanted to just highlight Marvin Dixon, because Marvin is a staple, somebody who puts money in comedians' pockets.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Marvin definitely does, man. Him, and like you said, him in Miami, Touré in Philly, and Damon in Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
I know Damon Williams, by the way.
That's
too.
why I wanted to go there, because we were talking about traditional comics versus these newer people yesterday. We were talking about that. So I want to know what your take is on what happened with Damon Williams and Just Hilarious, that whole thing.
Yeah, like most people, man, or a lot of people were saying, it's like, see, that's proof or evidence that you don't know. Just because even if someone come before you, you still, if you're serious about your craft or whatever it is, whether you play football, it's a sport, you should know your people that came before you, know who they are, know your history. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, she came off, very arrogant, dismissive, like he was beneath her or something. You know what I'm saying? I have no idea who that is and this and that. I thought it was Damon Williams. I was like, I was already looking at it sideways, even before they showed the clips of her and Damon before that. You're like, come on now, really? And knowing where she come from and her path, you know what I'm saying? Her and other people like that, their path to this business, it's like, to the game, it's like, it was not a good look. It was not a good look. And a lot of them, I think a lot of them, they just don't have the respect or regard for those of us that came before them and came up a different way. You know what I'm saying? To be honest, it's technology. Technology, being the internet, that's what made them. Did they really want to be stand-up comedians if if technology wasn't around? Would they still be trying? We were doing this before technology.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? We was doing this before. We was doing it because we loved it and it's who we are and it's everything. Would they be doing stand-up comedy if they hadn't got discovered on social media? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I don't think so, man. And versus, like I say, how we came up before all that. Man, we were just happy to get on stage. We was in the VHS era, you know what I'm saying? And even before AOL, you got mail. We were before that. You know what I'm saying? So we was in the age of getting manila folders with headshots and tapes and a business card, mailing them off. Mailing. We were mailing, not email. We were mailing, right? So they just don't, I don't think they don't have they don't know the full grasp of the magnitude of this craft, this art. This is really art. You know what I'm saying? Stand-up comedy is an art. It's a craft. We're artists. And we're sensitive about we're sensitive about it too. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the creativity we have, man. We're very sensitive about our creativity. So I think, that whole thing was bad. You know what I'm saying? And, they have their market, I guess, you know what I mean? But then that market to me, it has an expiration date.
Yeah.
You know, the social medians, as fellow comedian Jeff B. Shout out to Jeff B. I just worked with him, man, in Cleveland. But
I
he
got
said,
booed in front of Jeff B when I was 19 years old.
"Oh no,
I'll tell you that story.
no."
Yeah, we get there in a second, but go ahead.
Okay. So he called them social medians, and that's a good name. But that's what they are, man. They were discovered on social media. And hey, look, you can't knock they had a platform, and that same platform we can use too now. You know what I'm saying? So it hit us, and it also helps us at the same time because it kind of damaged us traditional comedians with chops, with real true chops, because now in the general club, I said this last night, in the general comedy club market and theater shows, theater promoters and club owners, they're leaning on numbers. Now, it kind of made them lazy, as we both said before. It made them lazy. In fact, okay, now I can draw these people in. All I gotta do is say the name because they got followers. So I'm using their follower numbers replaces the money we would have spent on radio ads. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, it's lazy to me because it's short-lived because you're gonna book them maybe 2 to 3 times max, and it's like, okay, they're not really, they can't sustain. They're not sustainable. They can't hold a crowd for longer than 20 minutes on average. When you, as a headliner, you're supposed to do 45 to an hour, 45 minimum, hour max, or 45 on. You know, so the social media comedians, they don't have those chops. They got the numbers, but it's based off of edited, who knows how many takes, videos that they posted. It's not videos of them doing stand-up. It's videos of them doing skits.
Yeah.
And club owners like anything to fill seats because all they see is their numbers is money. Anything to fill the seats. And it's cheapened. It's disrespected the craft of comedy because they're relying on, I understand they got to keep their lights on, but it won't hurt to put forth some effort to advertise a traditional comedian, whether they're super known or not. It's how you sell it. A lot of them, everybody's caught up in names, they're name brand whores or whatever. But think about it like this. I look at George Lucas when he came out with the first Star Wars. Nobody was really known. They didn't have a marquee name.
Yeah.
But it was a good story, and it was sold well. And look at it now. That franchise, man, bruh. So look what it became. You can do that with artists, period, with comedians. You know, just put me on the radio. I'll sell a show. Put any of us. We can sell a show on the radio. Most of us, man, me and Guy Torrey just did that recently. We was down in Fort Lauderdale, and we went on the radio. I mean, Guy already has a name, but man, that radio, it even boosted the numbers even higher.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Radio, people hear that and like, oh man, they be driving to school or work or whatever, like, oh man, I'm gonna go to that. I forgot, I ain't know they was in town, or I forgot they were coming, whatever. So the club owners, they don't do that they got good numbers, 1 million followers. I'm sure we're gonna get a crowd. But that crowd is not sustainable. They're starting to fade out now. You know what I'm saying? That's a storm that started. It was a strong storm, and I kept telling my fellow traditional comedians, just weather the storm. It'll be over. And it really only hit the general comedy clubs and theaters. There were other realms out there that you can view it how you want. Some people say, well, I go here for refuge and keep making money until this storm blow over. Say, however you want to look at it, but you have the church realm, because I can do clean comedy too, so I do churches as well. You got the corporate realm, you got cruises. A lot of our fellow comedians on cruises now too. And that might be a result of us not being able to get into the comedy clubs like we used to because of the social media wave. You know what I'm saying? Unless you was a traditional comedian that had enough a memorable role in a movie or a sitcom to where, okay, that's gonna put butts in seats because that make us black famous. If you black famous, you can always get in a comedy club.
So let's back up. Give me some examples of how, if you do maintain that it did, how did the social media personalities, how did it impact or affect the traditional stand-ups?
Because it kind of knocked us out of our general workplace, which was the comedy clubs. Comedy clubs, that's the base, in my opinion, the base realm or base platform of us stand-up comedians. Go to the comedy club. We get booked at the comedy clubs around the country. that was our regular work grounds. And all of a sudden, the social medians came out. Well, social media period came out, and they saw how people have followers. And if you are that wasn't our style or passion, us traditional comedians, to be in front of a phone all day, doing stuff, doing skits. We came up different. Our platform of boosting up numbers or followers or whatever was getting on a Tonight Show back then, or getting on comedy shows, period. Oh, Comic View, Def Jam, Apollo. We had a lot of stand-up comedy shows out there. If you got on TV, period, that boosted your numbers and you had a memorable set or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, that moved to social media. When that started, everybody got access to a camera and got access to post it. And that kind of booted us out of the general comedy club circuit. The reason I say I keep saying general comedy clubs is because those other realms I mentioned, they're not looking at your social media numbers. They want somebody that's funny. Cruise ships, all that. So they're not really, the social media stuff doesn't really affect that. But comedy clubs, it did kind of hurt us getting booked. I mean, club owners will tell you, man, you're funny, but your social media following.
So let me interject. Like, you're perfectly right. So there's a few things I want to say. Like I mentioned Gary in Atlanta at the Comedy Theater. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm forever linked to Gary because Gary and Rodney Perry fought for me to get on Bounce TV, where I think we first met. And we were on the same episode.
Same episode, yep.
And Gary used to book me, even if it was for me to feature.
Right.
Like, when I got discovered by Cat Williams, it was because Gary had booked me at his club, and he loved my stand-up. He knew I was funny, and he knew I was on the rise. And I had caught the bus from Atlanta all the way down from New York all the way down to Atlanta. I stayed with my partner, and I think I had like 6 or 7 shows that weekend.
Right.
And I did well. And then I got booked. That was in 2016. Then he booked me again the following April. And I hadn't been booked. I've been down at to speak at a conference and stuff, but I ain't been booked since.
Right.
And it ain't because this nigga that fell off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And at first I took it personal. I'm like, damn, am I saying something I shouldn't say on the internet?
Right.
Because you know how I be talking.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm astute enough to know what I can get away with saying and what not to.
Right.
But it dawned on me after talking to some of the OGs that ain't none of this personal.
Right.
It's all business. So what has happened now is they would rather book somebody who gonna sell tickets.
Right.
And who might not even really be funny.
Right.
As opposed to booking somebody who is extremely funny, and you as the owner, as the marketing team is going to have to work to get these people in here. It's like they don't want to do it no more. Like my agent told me that. He said he used to own a club on the East Coast.
Right.
And he said what they used to do is the clubs made the comedians famous to the club's patrons.
Right.
So if you're somebody who goes to Helium and you're just a regular Joe Smoke, and I owned Helium, or I was the manager of Helium, it was my job as the marketing person to get you to fall in love with Tony Tone, who's going to be here.
Right.
You may never heard of him, but I'm going to show you all of these clips from him when he did television. I'm going to put him on the radio. I'm going to let you get to know him via his personality.
Right.
Not his stand-up, just because I'm going to give you his stand-up, the clips, but I'm going to let you see him as personality, let you hear him on the radio. Take him around town, let him go to the mall. Like, because that's one thing I love about Bill Bellamy. As big as Bill is, when Bill comes in town, like, he gonna do press.
Yeah.
And that press, he gonna get on the radio.
Yeah.
He gonna go to restaurants.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like the clubs got lazy.
Yeah.
And they kind of stopped caring about comedy because now you've replaced people like you and me with people who are not even, like, Just Hilarious, in my opinion, what that underscored or what that showed with her disrespect of Damon Williams, who is one of the legends in comedy, not only is what he does on stage, but off stage.
Right.
To dismiss him, you don't even have a right to call yourself a comedian.
Right.
As a black woman. Because again, I'm in a fraternity, I'm a Noop.
Yeah.
And one of the things about us, you got Kappas and you got Noops. Any Noop can be a Kappa, but every Kappa ain't no Noop.
Right.
You got to go through the fire to become a Noop.
Right.
And this is no different. Like, the relationship you and I have is because we went through a similar fire. Like, if you was a Noop, we would say, hey, bro, what college you went to? Oh, I went to Fisk. Hey, when you was pledging, did y'all have to woo, woo, woo? And I'm like, yeah. So, man, you going to bond, you going to shake my hand and hug me.
Right.
Same thing. I'm like, hey, you ever got booed, Tony? Yeah, man, I was down at woo, woo. So these are the same type of stories which bonds us.
Right.
You know, and for somebody who, like, again, in the frat, if I ask you some questions and I know that you can't answer them, I'm older now, so I ain't finna fight you.
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna respect you.
Yeah, history.
Yeah, so you haven't been through anything. So I believe that they should even be able to call themselves comedians, and they shouldn't be called comedians, because you're not. For you to say that about Damon Williams, and then for what you're doing on stage, because one of the problems about the social media people is you're famous now, so you don't even have an opportunity to get good at this.
Right.
Because you can't go practice. You're not. They don't even go to regular open mics and get their chop, because they're already famous. So people gonna look at them. Yeah. But to me, I had to overcome, because a part of it was a jealousy on our end. We was upset and jealous at the same time. One of the reasons why we were jealous is because they, like you said, they knocked us out. Like when it came back to Def Comedy Jam, when they brought it back in LA in they were auditioning in 2016, and I got the call to audition. Rob Stapleton, I think he put the casting together, and then I auditioned in New York, in Brooklyn, and I killed. Right. And then I didn't get picked. And then I saw who they picked, and then one of the people, again, was Just Hilarious, who was not a comedian. And they put her on there because they thought this social media personality was gonna help sell this show. Right. Like when you did Def Jam, the people who sold Def Jam were your guys' sets. Right. You were unknown people who became stars because the people saw your talent. Right. And so to me, that's the problem. And when she did that, it was like, to me, the comedians did what they were supposed to do. And then I saw she got mad at Damon and she blocked him. Yeah. But you shouldn't be able to call yourself, just say what you are. You're a social media, you're not a stand-up.
Social media entertainer.
Yeah, you ain't one of us.
Oh, yeah, right.
And ain't nothing wrong with it.
Not like us.
Yeah, you getting your money, cool. You on the Breakfast Club, cool. You famous, perfectly fine. Right. But you're not a stand-up. Just say that. You're a social media personality. Ain't nothing wrong with being that. Right, right. But so you can't really, like, it's their fault as well as the clubs, because they've created these monsters. But like you said, I know some social media cats who was selling tickets at first. But then people went to go see him, and they was like, "Hey, this is terrible." Right, right. And now
I've seen that a lot too.
Fizzled out.
Yep, I've actually had to. I did a Fallout. I had to replace a Fallout. They had a Fallout. Somebody that was a social media person. They had like 1 million followers. No tickets were sold, and they just canceled them. And I came in to fill in. Now I happened to be available. I got called in for it. Hey, you available? I said, yeah, I can come do it. It was supposed to be a social media, sensation.
How long ago was this?
It was last year. Like early last year. No, when was it? Yeah, it was definitely last year, but like sometime last year.
So yeah, that means you're right when you said they're fizzling out, because at first they were selling.
Steam. Yeah, they're losing steam. It was hot at first, and now people like, yeah, but it wasn't. I'm starting to hear that a lot. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't what I thought, or okay, it wasn't like traditional. We can't beat a classic, man. We're classics. Man, can't beat a classic. So, like I say, it's just a storm we got to weather, man, and they had their success, whatever. But we'll see. We'll see if they got staying power. So we got staying power.
So that's the other thing I want to say. Like, the blessing, because you kind of mentioned it earlier, is they can't do what we do, but we can do what they do. So the blessing is you have people who are stand-ups who learn how to master the internet now.
Yep, I can. Yep, I mean, the ones that come to mind off that is Marvin Hunter, Shula King. They were traditional comedians first, and they went over to that side and kind of mastered that.
LeVar
Walker.
Delay.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Delay, that's right. Delay. Yeah. A few of them. So, and that's great. That's great. I try to dabble in it. It's just not. I don't know why it's not my passion to do it, man. I mean.
My manager back in the day told me in 2011, like, because he again mentioned somebody. So the first social media comedian was what's his name?
Why you asking all them questions? Was it that?
What name? Spoken Reason.
Spoken Reason. Yeah. And that one throw those two together, Spoken Reason and what's the dude's name? Them questions. It was two of them. Cause one of them they tried to pull into movies, and the other one was on Wild 'N Out. I don't know.
I know Spoken Reason, but my manager kept saying, bro, you funny as hell. He said, but don't nobody know you. So he said, you need to start doing skits. And this is the time Spoken Reason started coming up. And see, I was arrogant. I just thought I was the funniest thing ever. And I said, bro, I'm so funny, eventually I'm going to blow up. Right. And I refused to do skits. I was like, I'm not going to do them. And over time, I started to realize I got to do something. Yeah. Because I'm being left behind. It's to the point now where I'm seeing people who came up with me who I was head and shoulders above them, and they knew it, but they kind of became stars. Then they'll see me, and it's kind of almost like, what's up? Like, I I'm like, bro, what I do on on the internet, you who you are. But if I go to Chocolate Sundays and go before you,
right,
you may as well go home. Like, cause this something you can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But going back to like Spoken Reasons, I remember people like him was the reason why a lot of us started losing college gigs and those contracts, because he would go, from what I was told, he would go, they would book him at these colleges and then he would bomb, and then somebody like me or you would call and say, hey, I want to come, get a contract with you guys to bring a show for homecoming next year. They say, well, stand-up comedy doesn't really go well here at our university. And we say, well, what you mean? Well, we had a show last year and it was terrible. We brought comedians and paid them well. And well, who'd you have? Oh, we had Spoken Reasons. And again, that's why us stand-ups traditionally, we were getting upset, because now you're keeping us from being able to eat because you're ruining,
making a bad first impression.
Yeah. But yeah, when Jess did that, and then I saw everybody going back, I know Damon Wood, like, come on, man.
Yeah. I even put up a video, so yeah, man. Yeah, Damon, man. I would have never made it in performed in Martha's Vineyard if I hadn't, if I didn't know Damon, man. And Damon didn't, because he booked me. Yeah. He booked me on that, man. Yeah.
Damon, what can I get more? I've been knowing Damon. I met Damon I moved to Chicago in 2010, and Mary booked me to co-headline.
Yeah.
And after she saw my first set that Saturday, she said, Willie, you're a headliner.
Yeah.
Because, I did 30 minutes, but my time was there. And it was crisp. It's like I wasn't doing no crowd work or nothing, and I wasn't through.
Yeah, you were strong when we first worked together in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah, which I'm going to talk about next. And this is me talking about how phenomenal he is. But Mary said, you're a headliner. She says, has Damon booked you yet? And I didn't understand what that meant. But Damon is like the godfather of Chicago comedy.
He put in the work with Mary for me too before. Yeah, I never made it up there, but still, yeah, man. Yeah, I remember that club. It was what, just joking?
Jokes and Notes.
Jokes and Notes.
I was a house MC for about 6 months.
Oh yeah? Hey man, at least you were there, man.
Yeah, but that was the spot. But yeah, Damon, hey man, I'm here too. I'm available, baby. Come
Martha's Vineyard. That was a great time. That's a great time. They still do it, of course, but him and Steve Capers. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because the crazy thing is I be thinking sometimes, because when COVID hit, that's when I kind of took the gloves off, and on the internet I just started saying what I felt.
Right.
Because I'm scared. I was scared. This 2020,
right.
a COVID out here. We Trump. We think Trump gonna kill everybody. The riots going on.
I'm gonna kill you all.
Yeah.
We're all in it.
Very soon.
We're all in it.
You're gonna die.
We're gonna die. We're gonna go down. I'm not gonna be the only one that's orange. We're all gonna be orange. We're all gonna have an orange glow. It's gonna be nice, fabulous. I like it.
But I believe, because I was popping. I was talking my shit.
Right.
And I think, and I know this to be true because it was a comedian, one of my OGs, Brooklyn Mike. Yeah. He booked me in New York.
Yeah.
21, and I was closing out. It was me and him, but he put some other vets on the show. They was doing guest spots, and I was the headliner. And it was because my fraternity had something, and he's like, I'm gonna call Willie to come through and be the headliner.
Right.
So Sync went up. Who else? Michelle. I don't know if Freddie Ricks was there, but a bunch of heavy hitters was murdering.
Yeah.
And it was packed wall to wall.
Right.
And so Brooklyn Mike said, hey, Willie, just go up and do a strong 10 so we can get out of here. And I'm like, bro, I flew all the way from St. Louis to come do this for 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah.
Now, the money was there.
Yeah.
But I'm like, nah, bro, I want to get down.
Yeah.
And so I get up and I'm ripping. Now, mind you, the show had been kind of running for a minute.
Right.
But I'm killing after all of these cats. And I'm waiting on the light because I'm like, it's about 7-8 minutes in.
Right.
And that light didn't come for another 25 minutes.
Nice.
And so when I got off, he showed me love, gave my money. Then he called me the next morning and he said, hey, bro, you was amazing. He said, I'm going to be honest with you. He said, I thought you were going to be more informative than funny.
Oh, okay.
And that's because what they see me saying on social media, they thinking that, okay, he's angry.
Right.
Well, not so much angry, but he's talking about heavy stuff, and maybe he's not that funny no more. But I understand as a stand-up comedian, my job is to make the audience laugh. Mm-hmm. Now, if I can educate them while doing so, fine. Yeah. But my job is to make you laugh.
Right.
So even like we talked about yesterday or earlier today, like when I talk about, like I don't talk bad about Trump.
Right.
Because number one, I don't want to talk about politics really.
Right.
I'm going to make fun of the way he looks or the way he talks. His toupee.
Yeah.
Because what I've learned, and maybe you can speak to this, what I've learned is how left-leaning comedians have become.
Right.
And I don't know if this is because they really believe this or because they're getting paid. And I believe it's the latter because I talked to a very well-up comedy manager, and he ended up telling me, like the Democratic Party, they was giving 20 grand to his clients if they were just endorsing Kamala Harris during the election. And that blew my mind. Because if you notice, I don't know if you peek, because I know you don't talk about none of it. You just be, you different. Like everywhere you move is different than everybody I've ever seen. And I don't know if you notice how comedians, they speaking out about politics more than they've ever spoken out.
Right.
And they're not talking black, they're talking Democrat. You maybe see a few talking Republican.
Right.
But it's a difference. You got Democrats, you got Republicans, and you got black.
Right.
You can't be black and be talking Democrat, or you can't be black and be talking Republican.
Right.
Because neither party is for black people.
Right.
Because we're owed reparations, and most people have forgotten that.
Yeah.
So you should know, well, we had Kamala Harris in office, this has been better, but she wasn't finna give us reparations.
Right.
So why have a woman who in office who ain't finna do nothing for us?
Right.
And now, Trump is entertaining to me, so that's why I'm glad he's there.
Yeah, he definitely gives us a lot of material.
Yeah, but it's like what I'm learning is comedians, it's like I really believe that they sitting there getting checks because all of their posts be, look at Trump. I'm like, bro, y'all ain't say, it's like, because to me it's not Trump, it's the system. Yeah. The system is the problem. It's not the president, because the president is a puppet.
Puppet, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, they really are.
But that's that. But to talk about how phenomenal you are, again, I'm older now, I'm more quiet, and I don't know if you noticed. I don't talk nowhere as near as much, because I used to be on the internet. I'm cold, niggas can't fuck, I'm that shit. That was me.
Right.
And part of it is because that's how my grandfather was. My granddaddy was very braggadocious.
Okay.
My mom and daddy, Levi League. What up, Sarge? But it also came because of how I was treated, in my opinion, when I first started in St. Louis. Like the veterans, they real mean.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who were the, well, I guess you don't want to name them. I was wondering who's.
Well, then you could name them.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't all of them, because some were good to me.
Some,
but then some were just like, they bullies, or it was just like, because you were new, they were just trying to treat you like.
Yeah, I got you.
And I say, bro, this is 2009. I say, man, like, I know y'all just now seeing me, but I've been dabbling in this since 95.
Right.
I said, if I ever, because I knew what I can do off stage. Like, if me and you just sitting and talking, I can have you peeing on yourself laughing, just me being me.
Right.
But I said, once I figure out how to translate this to the stage, it's over with.
Right.
And that's what ended up happening. That's how I took off as fast as I did.
Right.
And so I took off, and I was doing well. My first year doing the Bay Area, I was the favorite to win. I made it to the finals. After they saw me, they said, okay, Bob Sumner called me and said, man, we wish I heard you was the odds-on favorite.
Hey, yo, Willie, this is Bob. You're going to make it, son. You're going to win this. You're going to win this.
But I lost the first year, lost the second year. I actually got booed the first year. But the third year I won. And then that's when, I kind of took off. But my point is, later on, I ended up I worked with you at
Comedy House.
Before that. This was at Off the Chain.
Off the Chain, yeah.
And I'm like, they got me going first? I'm like, how they going? These niggas ain't gonna be able to follow me, because that's how I thought.
Right.
And I realized TV was different, and you still was cold that night. There was you and Rashawn Reese, but they flipped my set where Rashawn's when it aired, because Rashawn, everything they told us not to do, Rashawn actually did it. He was cussing, kind of doing some dirty stuff.
That's right, he did. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I went first when we were taping,
right,
and you went last, but they switched him and me,
right.
But when I worked with you at the Comedy House, it was a 2-man show.
Sure was.
So I'm like, they finna let me do 30 minutes in front of dude. I say, dude, funny, but you finna follow me after 30 minutes? And I'm up there killing.
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, murdering. And I'll text my partner, I say, man, this nigga finna have some trouble. I say, I just got off, he up there. Now. Bro, you came out, you played some old school music, and you was doing something with the music. Then 58 minutes later, bro, I mean, you just bing, bing, bing. And I'm sitting there, my mouth wide open. And I'm like, this is what a vet look like. Like, no matter what I had just done.
But I was saying, I said, man, that's his brother Willie strong. I did say that, though.
Yeah, but
I was like, yeah, I'm going to come with it.
But you taught me something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's a bunch. And then, because I knew you were funny because of then. But when I brought you to my room, my Wednesday room last year.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in awe.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I'm like, looking at the crowd work you was doing, which is
Yeah.
another conversation we can have about the new thing that comedians are doing. They're doing crowd work.
Crowd work, yeah.
But the crowd work, and then of course the impersonations. But bro, your set is so crisp. It is, your material is so tight.
Oh, thanks,
It's
man.
so fine tuned. It's like, now I'm gonna tell you, like last night, I was waiting on you to close with.
Yeah.
Not meanwhile, I didn't
Oh.
even say this today, but I thought you was gonna close with that voice, the Indian voice, because you kept calling that back.
Oh yeah. I was some of that. Now that callback actually was kind of an improv. That was never. It wasn't something I had written. It just came because that fits this part right that I'm doing. So I did a little callback.
Okay.
Even me, I had to make a note of that. I said, man, I got to make a note of that callback. I'm about to combine that. But yeah, that was, yeah.
But your comedy, bro, like I posted today on Facebook, I said, bro, you got to be one of the most underrated comedians that I've ever
I appreciate it,
worked
man.
with.
Thanks.
And people that know me know how I think about myself and what I know about and feel about comedy.
Yeah.
And it was the last time that I worked with you at my Wednesday room.
Mm-hmm.
Where I say, bro, that's why I respect Guy Torres and I respect Don D.C. Curry, who's one of my OG. Bro, to have you in front of it, do you be smashing? Of course you do.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I get it ready for them well, man. And I mean, I'm the first one out, so it's only 2-man show. So really, you catch them at a point they're still sober, they're still coming in, getting settled in. So you don't really get this, because when you see me hitting the crowd, they're already been sitting there settled, they've been warmed up, heated up well but I'm coming out first, so I still do well. I do very well. I tell you what, every now and then I will have a set. Like even Don teased me, like we were in Helium. We did Helium in Indy recently, and he said, "I'm gonna tell you like Steve told me. It's the last time you gonna work for me. Last time, But he was joking, but he was like, cause I walked back to the back, he was like, "Damn, boy, yeah, boy, somebody had their Wheaties." You know how Don be talking. Somebody must have had their Wheaties before this show. It was just. I caught a
wave.
Just caught a wave, man. That crowd was hot, and I just couldn't pull back. I said, I just bullet them, hit them like bullets. But
So speak to that. This is something that y'all need to just listen to this. Now, speak to how you work with headliners, and they'll fire you if you're too funny.
True that. They'll either fire you or they'll never hire you. You know what I'm saying? They'll pass you up. And a lot of them, I'm gonna tell you, Guy told me that at first. Guy, but me and Guy, we go back. We're really tight, right? But at first, Guy was like, "Man, no, man, I don't feel like following you, man. You too funny." He'll tell you the truth, regardless of how it looks or sound. He said, "Man, you too funny, man. I don't feel like working like that." Now he might have been halfway joking, but he was really serious.
Yeah.
And over time, he was like, "Man, you know what? Come on, man. Let's do these shows." And I started working with him a lot. And it's not just from a standpoint of being able to get the crowd ready. It's kind of a professional thing too. I'm very professional. I do my time. I make the proper announcements that they want, and I get them really ready. You know what I'm saying? So, but someone told me on a post I made a while back, it was something similar about working for or not getting booked or being too funny for your own good or whatever. Somebody said, I don't want to say the names of the couple of comedians I heard, but I heard a couple of big names say they'll never book you in front of them. And it's a compliment, even though I'm not up there I'm not purposely going, I'm going to go up here, I want to make them work, I want to steal the thunder. That's not me. Mm-hmm. I really sincerely want to do a great job in getting the crowd ready for the headliner. I give them great intros, kind of like the intros, you gave me great intros, man. You bring me, I'm like, oh man, I appreciate that. So I give them great intros, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And part of that comes from me being able to do that. Come from my years at the Universoul Circus, being able to do proper introductions and get crowds ready for the next act and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sincere about it. But a lot of comedians, man, they don't want to work hard. They'll tell you that. I did this for too long. I'm headlining now. I ain't trying to work hard. Let me put somebody up there that's of direct contrast to what I am. Either if it's a male headliner, they'll use a female opener. If it's a female headliner, they use a male opener. It's a contrast. It's different, and they're not super funny. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't want to work hard. Cedric, you got to respect Cedric the entertainer too. He said it about JJ. He said, man, this brother here, he said when he first opened for him, first time, Cedric said he had to work for about a good 15 minutes to get that crowd back. Because JJ, you know JJ from the SIP, man. JJ, he'll light a crowd up. And he said, I knew I needed a brother like that to open for me to keep me on my toes. So Cedric is the same way. I want that. He want that fire in front of him to keep him on his toes. A lot of comedians, a lot of headliners aren't like that. I mean, that goes across all ethnic comedians, white comedians. It don't matter. A lot of them don't want to. They ain't trying to work hard, man. Like, nah, you gotta. They tell you gotta get your own show.
Yeah, it was this cat that came through a couple weeks ago, and this is one of my OGs.
Right.
I didn't put that paper in his pocket.
Right.
And he came through, and he ain't called me. I'm like, dang, bro, you finna be at the club? Why you ain't? You let me work with you.
Right.
But I didn't say nothing because I've already been told, and this is when I got to tell, like, yeah, you ain't trying to go behind me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
right.
that is what it is, but
yeah.
I don't never want to be like that. The only way I have a problem with somebody open for me is if they stepping on my material.
Oh yeah, of course,
of
course, yeah. I've like I say, man, like you made me work. I'm like, this dude's strong. Let me come with it. I had to follow Carlos Miller. Yeah, you know I'm strong, you know. And I'm like, yeah, this brother making me work. Good. Let's see, Landry. You might not know Landry. This dude named Landry. I work with him, and he put a hole in the crowd too before I got up there. But it's been a few, man. It's been a few. I'm like, okay. I didn't dismiss. I'm like, if I have to work, that's good. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like, can we get him off the show? That's not me. I'll never be that guy, man. You know, never. I just got to get my stuff together. You know what I'm saying?
So one question I do want to ask is, how did you end up working for the circus? And how was that?
First of all, that was a great experience. It's one that I was really trying to avoid the first time, but the show producer, who's still there now, her name is Denise Howard. She was my first manager ever in stand-up comedy. And she was out of Atlanta, Georgia at the time. But make a long story short, she became the show producer at the circus after her and I parted ways. And it wasn't just her and I. She managed Ricky Smiley and Small Fry first. And she brought me on board because Ricky said, go check out Tony Tone. And then she started grabbing everybody. She grabbed the Zoo Man, Rodman, Tyler, JJ. She was managing all of us. And we were all part of the Howard agency, you know what I'm saying? So over time, that dissipated. She left the business. She became the show producer at the Universoul Circus. And after Shucky's run, I think Shucky was about to step away or whatever. And they said, we want to get somebody new, younger, fresh, whatever. And she reached out to me when I was living in LA in 2005, late 2005. And I was like, I'm good, you know, I appreciate the call, but I'm good now, you know. So I was with NACA at the time, so I started to come out of my little financial hole, because I was struggling for a bit out there in LA. But I started doing those NACA shows, them college shows, started making decent money. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not leaving LA, I'm enjoying my grind, I'm making progress, so what? Then all of a sudden, I said, all right, Denise. She kept bugging me about it. I said, all right, Denise, I'll come in and meet the owner just for the heck of it. And the owner, Cedric Walker, met with him, man, in Atlanta, where the headquarters is, and the rest was history, man. I was like, all right. I mean, they had a good salary, but at the same time, I was like, I'm out in L.A. where I've been trying to get to. So I said, all right, I'll do, I'm thinking like 1 year. Right, I do this just to do it, and man, I ain't gonna lie, the salary was good, and he kept adding on. I'm like, oh, that was a great check, a weekly check for 10 and a half months, basically a whole year. That's why I kind of disappeared from comedy for a while. It was all circus, but that's also why I left the circus, because my heart was always with comedy. But anyway, that's how I got in with the circus, man. Denise Howard called me in, you know, and I followed Shucky. It was Casual Cal and Zeke. Casual Cal was the original ringmaster. After him came Shucky Ducky. And then Patrice Lovely came along with Shuck, you know, during that time too.
So when you was hosting, did you get to do any, did you get to be funny?
Well, yeah, but it was within the structure of the show. It wasn't like I had a segment to do stand-up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then when we were off, when the show was down for like maybe a month at the most, I would go back to trying to get some comedy gigs. So I did do a few comedy gigs, but I only had like a month, maybe a month and a half to even do that because I had to go right back to the circus. So in essence, people started associating me more with the Universoul Circus. You know?
So another question is, you mentioned the cruise ships. So tell me about the cruise ships and the good and the bad. And did you ever do cruise ships?
Never did cruise ships, man. And again, that's a realm where you could basically, in that case, get lost at sea. You know, you can make a living doing cruise ships alone. Like, I'm gonna tell you, a lot of entertainers that's been in the game for a long time, they either live out there, they ride off into the sunset via cruise ships or Vegas. If you've been doing it for a long time, be like, I don't feel like doing this traveling or whatever anymore. I'm just gonna do a residency either in Vegas or on cruise ships, cause I just still wanted to be on land. Cause you remember, a lot of the comedians that are doing cruise ships for a long time, they get lost. We call it lost at sea. They're on sea, on the seas, making great money, consistent money, but you forgot about them on land. It's like when they come back to land, they be like, hey man, can you help me up, get into some comedy clubs? Because they forgot about them. So my heart and focus is still on land. But cruise ships, they're great though. They're great to do,
Yeah, because when I was in New York, I did one cruise ship, but I got booked, what was his name? Jonathan Gates out of Boston. You used to do Boston Slades up in Boston?
No, I never did. I've only performed in Boston sparingly, stand-up wise.
So he used to have a room on Wednesday night, so I did a couple times, but that's the OG, Jonathan Gates, and he booked me on a cruise, and it was fun.
Yeah.
But then I got to see, I saw Spike, Spike Davis?
Spike Davis, yeah.
So he on them cruises, and I saw him out there. And then it makes sense because what's his name? Marvin. I forget Marvin's last name. He's an OG from St. Louis, but he been in New York for years. He was telling me he was doing cruises, but he said the bad part about the cruises, he said, now it's good money. I don't know if he's getting about $3,000 a week or something like that.
It's about the average though.
Yeah, making paper.
Yeah.
But when he would come back to New York, he was out of the rotation at the clubs.
Yep. You get out of rotation.
Yeah, and they really wasn't messing with him. So that's what you mean by getting lost at sea.
Yeah, you can get lost at sea, man.
Yeah.
I was with the circus for like 6 years straight, so that took me out. Well, I still kind of, like I say, on a little downtime, I still squeezed in a couple of comedy dates. But, and even that, it was a little rusty because most of my time was at the circus.
So that was the other question. So how did it affect your stand-up just as a performer?
Stand-up is so natural. It comes so natural. At the same time, you still have timing. You haven't done your jokes in a while because you're doing a whole nother structured show. So your timing in the circus case, because you have to perform kind of big. It's theater in the round. You performing differently, so your timing is different. It's a little off, but it comes back on track though. You know what I'm saying? It'll come back on track, but you gotta really work hard. But your timing is off, and in the circus case, I was performing too big for the comedy stage. I was performing like I was still at the circus. So I had to tone it back down to comedy level. You know what I'm saying? Club-wise. So, yes, your timing, a little rushed. You know what I'm saying? It's always going to be there, but it'll get back into how it is when we in a groove. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a groove right here. But if you haven't done it for a while, you kind of a quarterback. You come back and throw a couple of picks, but your rhythm comes back, and next thing you know, you're throwing all touchdowns. But yeah, that's just throw your timing off. Because each time we're on stage, if we miss a week or maybe 2 weeks, we're rusty. A little rust starts setting in there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the more we're on stage, that's reps. That's reps in the gym. And we're a well-oiled machine when you constantly hitting the gym. I mean, I don't care what the platform is. Like say, if it's a small crowd, large crowd, big event, small show, intimate show, it's still reps. Yeah. And I wasn't getting that with the circus. And you don't get that. Well, you get it with the cruises, but you're doing stand-up. Even in that, it's the dynamic with the cruise ship shows, and Vegas. You're working in front of tourists. It's not really necessarily people from that area. You know what I'm saying? Comedy clubs, you primarily working in front of people from that area, from that city.
Yeah.
So you can do different references. You can do references on that city. They'll all laugh. You got to perform a little bit differently for tourist crowds.
I learned that when I moved to New York because I remember I did a show called Comedy Time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really big show on YouTube, and I got booked for it. And I had just moved to New York, and that's when I was doing Bounce When You Say to Junior. Like, remember, you was like, why you don't do it? That's when I stopped doing it.
Right, I understand.
Man, I went out there, I said, my name is Willie Lynch Jr., and you got to bounce when you say the Junior. And then white folks was like, this is odd.
Oh, that's very urban.
Then these people were from all over the world. They were from Europe and stuff.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And so I was playing at LOL Comedy Club in Times Square.
Okay.
I was getting my chops in New York, front of a bunch of tourists. After about a month, I figured it out because we were getting on stage in New York at that club 6-7 times a night.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like 4 or 5 different rooms.
Reps.
You get off stage in one room.
Yeah.
15 minutes later, you on over here.
Yeah.
After you get off, another 15, 20 minutes, you over here. And we just round robin.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about jokes that I had kind of just written. It's like, they got sharp. So I remember when I had first come back to Chicago to work at the club, I don't know if you know who Ray Lambert is, the guy who used to own All Jokes Aside.
Yeah, I do. I know the name. I never met him. I know
Yeah,
something.
so that's my frat brother. And he had come to see me at Jokes and Notes. I was there for the weekend. And after I got off, he said, I can tell you've been living in New York. Because my pace was like this.
Yeah.
And I was getting that because I was on stage in front of these tourists.
Yeah.
And so what I was doing that looked like crowd work was actually my set.
Right.
So I would say, because again, remember I'm come out of the history, school, learning history, at college,
Right.
undergrad. And so I know a lot about random information. I know a whole bunch of random information.
Yeah.
So like, where you guys from? They say Australia. I said, oh, y'all still shoot niggas in Australia? And they're kind of like, oh my God. And what I'm talking about is they literally was hunting the black people there. And they know it,
yeah.
And then I had a bit right after that. I started talking about the Tasmanians. And Tasmania is a island off the coast of Australia.
Right.
And the British killed all of the Tasmanians. Like, they didn't kill all of the Australian blacks, but they killed all the Tasmanians. And so I started talking about that, but it's all funny. And I said, yeah, them some racist folk. I say, they didn't make that cartoon. I say the Tasmanian devil wasn't nothing but a nigga with epilepsy.
Yeah.
But these were all jokes that I had in my bag.
Right.
And so when somebody was from Russia, I had a Russian joke. Somebody was from the UK. If you from India, but I learned all of this performing in Times Square in front of these tourists. So I got I got my reps up around just as a comedian, my timing, but my set in terms of tourists. So I got a church set too, but going, to transition, tell me about joke writing and what is your methodology? How do you write jokes and how often do you write jokes and when do you try them out?
I write in outline form. That's when I first started. That's how I've always written. That's how I started out. And always written in outline form. I write the basically the base topic. Then I put funny points up under that. A, B, and all that stuff. So I write funny points up under that, and I'll go on stage and try them. I'll try it if I feel it's funny. Feel it's strong enough to just put out there. It could be a big show. I'll put something new out there like that. I may not start with it. There's a formula to doing it. You start with something already established to bring the crowd in. Then in the middle, you throw the new stuff in. But I will put it out there, man, and see if it sticks. And I'll do it on small shows as well. Like, okay, this is a workout, so I'll sit down and just throw some stuff out there. And I write on stage a lot too. I write on stage in certain situations, and also. I keep a pad with me or my phone. I got a little pad on my phone, and I'll type something in real quick, so I won't forget it. And it's really kind of a constant thing. You know what I mean? I don't really set aside time. I used to do that, set aside time to just sit down and write. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I'll sit there and be like, I'd be sitting in front of an empty pad for a long time, like I can't think of nothing. So I have to let it come to me organically. One of the times I used to write, I used to keep a pad by my bed. I'm about to start back doing that. I used to keep a pad by my bed because I'm sure you know this. when we wake up in the morning, or if we wake up in the middle of the night, our minds are the most clear. They're most clear then. Your thoughts more crystal clear because your brain haven't been absorbing a lot of verbiage. You know what I'm saying? So your brain had a rest, but when you wake up, it's clear, but your thoughts are clearer too. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, I've written some stuff like that. Let me write that down. That's funny. You can put something together real quick when you wake up in the middle of the night or early in the morning. It's the best time to almost write sometime. I've done that before. Just got up and like, I'm going to write something down. And I ended up being up for like an hour in the middle of the night just writing something because my mind was clear, crisp.
What about social media? Do you ever write on social media?
You know what? I quit doing that. I used to try premises. A lot of my posts were premises or jokes, straight up jokes. But I kind of quit doing that because I don't want to be a phantom writer for somebody. You know what I'm saying? A ghost writer. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody would take a post. A lot of people would take a post and make that a joke. I'm like, wait a minute.
See, when social media first got popping around 2009, 2010, 2011, that's all we did on Twitter and Facebook. Me and my partners, like my boy Javon.
Right.
That's all. Like all of our tweets were funny. Like we were trying to be for everything we post. It was never, we wasted a tweet like, hey, what y'all doing today out there, Twitter?
Right.
Everything we posted was something trying to be funny.
Or a premise, yeah.
Yeah. And so I used to do that all the time. Like I remember my boy Bobby J, like doing the the BET Awards. We would literally get excited every year because I'm like, I finna be on Twitter. We finna sit there and watch. I used to be on my gal, her laptop. Every time I would see something, I was like, ooh, look at Fantasia got on. And we would just be joning. Just everything was funny. But over time, we stopped.
Right.
And I don't know what made me stop, but every now and then I'll do, like yesterday, I was on a roll. Like some of the jokes I was doing last night.
Right.
Those were jokes that I had just posted on Facebook.
Right. I've done that before too.
So for me, I get into a rhythm when it comes to writing jokes.
Yeah.
Like if I think of something funny and I say, okay, I'm finna try to be funny. And the joke I said yesterday, I said perspectives is different. Everybody got different perspectives. I don't know if you remember this. I said everybody got different perspectives. I said, I remember back in the day when I was a kid, when it would rain, my grandmother said that was God in heaven crying.
Right.
Them was God's tears. I said, but my Uncle James on the other side, he said when it rained, that was God making sure that homeless people didn't have no excuse to wash their ass.
Right.
And
yeah.
I remember when I posted, I got a big response, and then even Toure commented on it. Toure was like, nigga, what's wrong with you?
Right.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try that. And
that's a compliment coming from
Toure.
Yeah.
But so what I used to do is I would write like that. But that was before I became an herbalist, before I became a caretaker, before I became a father and a businessman.
Right. Because
now I got so much I got going on every day. Like I just started studying horticulture last couple of days.
Right.
So I'm learning all of these things. So sometimes I'll be forgetting to write, and I'm like, I gotta remember to write. Because with comedy, I've been doing it long enough to where, as long as I just write a few jokes a day or a week and then start trying them, I should be cool. But
yeah, and it's definitely a constant because it's honing our craft, investing in our craft, and I've done, like I said, I've turned some of my posts have turned into stage material because I wrote it for that. I wanted to see what the reaction would be.
Yeah.
If you get good reactions, I mean, of course I wrote a couple of posts that failed, oh, that bomb, I'm bombing on Facebook, But yeah, a lot of them like, okay, that's pretty good. I'm gonna use that, or whatever. So, yeah, man, definitely got to keep writing. Don't stop, because like I said before, you don't want to get bored with your material because it'll come across like that after a while. You don't do it with the same enthusiasm, and with our experience, sometimes we can go back and get some of our early stuff and retweak it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's man, we constantly evolving. We never stop learning. So as soon as you as a comedian or entertainer, period, feel like you've reached the pinnacle and you have nothing else to learn, that's actually in life too, you setting yourself up for failure, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we always gonna keep learning.
Well, I'm glad you came and pulled up on me, bro, and I'm glad, like I said last night, I've been a fan for a minute. Like, you cold, bro, and that's an understatement. Like,
I appreciate it, man.
And I a lot of people, I know you working and people who know you, but if the ones who don't know, bro, this dude here, like, he'll make you tuck your set in. So I'm gonna ask you before you go, what advice would you have for young comedians? Because I got a lot of young comedians that watch this. Like, what advice would you have?
To all the my fellow young comedians coming up, reps. Reps. I always say reps, because that's the gym. So when you go to the gym, the more consistent reps you get, the bigger your muscles or whatever your result is. Same thing with comedy. So more reps you get on stage is gonna boost your comedy muscle. Your timing is gonna get better. It's confidence. It's gonna boost your level because it's levels of confidence. So it's gonna build your confidence. Just keep growing. Stay humble. Don't focus so much on money because you can't make the money without the funny. So just stay focused. Stay humble. Get those reps. Build your funny. The money will come. The money will come. So. That's pretty much it, man. You know, just stay consistent, man. Enjoy, have fun. If you're not having fun, if you're looking at it like, I mean, I'm a junkie for it, so I may be say this to a fault. I'm a junkie. I love a live mic and people and making people laugh. It's a real drug. It hits the same part of my brain as cocaine does. You know what I'm saying? You know, dopamine hits. You know, when I got a mic in my hand. But have fun. Have fun. If you're not having fun, then you're not having fun.
And the other thing, stealing jokes. Can you, like, because this is something else. That's happening now, what I'm noticing with comedians. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of memes that come out. And a lot of times the memes come out from regular people. They're stealing them from comedians, and they turn them into memes, number one.
Yeah.
But what also is happening is comedians are posting memes. And well, I said this the other day. I was like, when I see a comedian retype or repost a meme, now I ain't talking about like if I see a meme and I just take it and I post it.
Right.
I mean, might even share it. And you know it's not mine because I just shared it.
You shared it, yeah.
But I saw a comedian the other day literally typed out somebody else's meme and they put it as their status and made it seem like, oh, this is mine.
Yeah, I've seen I've heard other fellow comedians say the same thing. And you're right, that is seem to be a little trend. That's not a good trend. Be original. Talk about your perspective. Your life from your perspective and other observations, you know, if you got observation humor. But yeah, being original, and don't use memes. Yeah, you're right. People use the memes and try to turn them into their own, as if they wrote it.
Yeah, because it's two things. They're doing the memes. They're stealing memes and repost them as though this was what they wrote on Facebook. Number one. Also, they're taking memes from the internet and they're getting on stage and doing them. So it's two things.
Yeah.
Because to me, with comedy, I maintain my definition of a joke is a well thought out idea that's intended to be funny. Mm-hmm. And you can't think out an idea that somebody else already thought out.
Right.
So you got to be original. And like you said, observation, your take. Because Judy Carter's book, The Comedy Bible, one of her definition of a premise is your take on a subject.
Yeah.
Like if I say, what you think about Trump? You have an opinion of Trump.
Yeah.
And your opinion shouldn't be the same as mine. Because we got different fingerprints and different social security numbers. Yours should be different.
Yeah, you may agree on some things, but it's overall your take should be different.
Yeah, or what you think about fried chicken.
Your true take.
Yeah.
True take. You're right, man. And right for the serious, because I know it's, for me especially, you ever been in a real serious situation and some of the funny stuff hits you? Mm-hmm. That's how we should write too. Right, be serious about something, and then all of a sudden that natural funny gonna come out.
That's where my comedy comes from now, because when I first got back into comedy in 2009, I was just coming out of college, so I read all these books and stuff, and I'm sitting there trying to talk about serious things.
Yeah,
but it wasn't funny. And then I watched Paul Mooney, and I was like, okay, so I would literally take a serious topic, and then I would put a punchline at the end of it.
Yeah.
So last question before we go.
All right.
Your biggest influences in comedy. Who are some of your biggest influences?
Let's see, man. Well, I did come up in a family that used to listen to Richard Pryor albums on the weekends. So Pryor was definitely one of my first influences and examples of stand-up comedy. So definitely Pryor. I know that sounds cliche, but hey, I'm 54. I came up in that era. My family would send me next to my room. I'm in the room next over, and the walls were thin, so sound traveled. I still got to hear Rich. But anyway, Richard Pryor, believe it or not, Bill Cosby too, man. That Bill Cosby himself, when he did the whole show sitting down and blazed wherever he was, that he killed it. That's one of my favorite stand-ups, man. Bill Cosby himself. You know, I watched Sanford and Son, but I never really saw a lot of Red Fox's stand-up. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I saw it over time, but not like growing up. So, but still, just watching Sanford and Son and knowing he was a stand-up comedian, that all the old school influenced me, man. You know what I'm saying? They all did that whole era, man. That was a golden era. That era of comedians that we grew up on was like the same era of boxers, the golden era of boxers. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a big boxing fan. But yeah, man. That they were the overall genre back then was my influence, man. So, you know. Oh yeah, one thing because you know I do impressions. I know I didn't do a whole lot this time, but I did come up watching Rich Little.
Okay.
He was one of the early impressionists that I first saw, and that was my early impressionist influence.
Well, probably your biggest that you don't talk about, you didn't realize is Richard Pryor, because Richard Pryor was an impressionist.
He was.
But people, because we look at him as a character comedian.
Yeah.
But the only difference between a character comedian and an impressionist is that an impressionist is doing characters that everybody knows.
Yeah.
And a character comedian is doing impressions of people that they know.
Man, Rich could turn into a lot of original characters, man.
Yeah.
You know, and the people that we relate to too.
Yeah.
We all knew somebody like Mudbones and people like that, man. And man, Rich could sing too. A lot of people don't know. I know you probably sing. You didn't know?
Yeah, I can sing, but I didn't know he could.
Yeah, I mess around. You know, I could dabble with it too. But impressionists are like they're like DBs. You know, DBs, they always say those are receivers they can't catch.
Yeah.
Well, impressionists are singers who can't really harmonize. Some can, but we can identify with a pitch just like a singer, but we can't sustain or harmonize. Singers can, because some singers can do impressions.
It's funny you say that, because I noticed that people who do impersonations are actually people that can sing.
Yeah.
And like me, like I won best vocalist in high school.
Oh yeah?
Now my daddy can really sing.
Right.
I can sing, but I never took it serious. So if you hear me sing, like, oh, he can sing, but I'll get off real quick.
Right. See, that's me too, man. Me too. I can, right, exactly. Because my father can sing too.
Yeah.
And if you saw pictures of my father, you think he's one of the 5 heartbeats.
Yeah.
So, I can sing because I've done shows with Lil G from Silk.
Yeah.
And I'll dabble around with kind of singing, you know, with him. He's like, man, you can sing. I said, man, you ain't gassing my head up. Nah. So, yeah, you're right, man.
But look, this has been another episode of All the Way Live of Willie Lynch Jr, man.
All the way live.
My man, Tony Tone.
Yes, sir.
Look him up, check him out. And hey, bro, a pleasure, man. I'm glad you came to pull up on me.
I appreciate it. And to the people watching, before you go, you can find me on Instagram at Tony Tone Comedy, TonyTone Comedy, Tony Tone Comedy on Instagram, comedian Tony Tone on Facebook and on TikTok, comedian Tony Tone. But I appreciate you, man. Yeah, always a pleasure. Willie Lynch Jr, boy.
We out, man. 2 fingers, no prints.
Let's go hit the gym.